Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube famous now, and I want to get right into this video because I have a lot to say, okay? So this is a reaction video to Shane Dawson's third part of his Tanacon videos, called something like The Real Truth Behind Tanacon, or The Real Truth to Tanacon, or something like that. And I wanted to give a really fair and unbiased response to all of this. Plus, I wanted to do a little research about some things that I was thinking about. So I have 13 points and notes that I sat there, I watched the video and I was taking notes as I went through it. So I'm gonna kind of just read my points as I go and kind of comment on them. But I will say this, you know, the last couple days, well, the last couple weeks, honestly, people have been saying that Shane Dawson is the Oprah of YouTube. And that may be true. That may be true. I kind of believe that. But if he is, then this one right here is the Dr. Phil of YouTube. Absolutely Oprah. Because I'm telling you right now, this one would not have been as kind to Tana Mojo. I think that she is in a position, and this was, listen, when opportunity meets desire, you have to take some chances, right? And this was the opportunity to really teach Tana some lessons. And I loved the video. I thought it was very well done. I thought that Shane really researched it well. But I think like this was an ultimate teaching moment. And I really believe in life. No matter if you're 15, 20, 40, or 60, life presents us teaching moments, you know? So from a Dr. Phil point of view, so Tana, tell me, when you were up in that hotel room and you were sticking your tongue down Bella Thorne's throat laying in bed, did it ever occur to you to maybe stand up and look out the window at all your fans out there, Tana, that were melting in the heat? Did it ever occur to you, Tana, to think, well, no, Dr. Phil, I just thought, I don't know what I thought. I was just so happy to be with Bella Thorne. Well, Tana, this is the point in your life that you might want to think about those things because, see, ultimately, you are responsible for what happened at Tanacon. And this is what I believe. I'm sorry, okay? I believe, ultimately, I don't care about this Michael person. I don't care about the creators. I don't care about anybody else who thinks that they are responsible for this. Tana Mojo is ultimately responsible for Tanacon. And the issue that I have with this video, although I thought it was very, very well done, okay, is that it kind of relieves Tana from any responsibility. She says in there, I'm ultimately responsible for this, but I don't believe that she really thinks that. I just don't think she does at all. And I don't believe that she's learned a lot from this experience. I think she's got on camera and she's cried a lot of crocodile tears, but I don't think she really gets the full capacity. So I want to go through here and tell you what I thought watching the video, okay? You ready? Drama class, are you here for drama class? Boost! Rosario, I see you in the back row. So let's get right. I always like to call somebody out in drama class. Number one, and this is for me one of the biggest points, that before, because the last 2 and 3 parts have been really focused on Good Time Productions, which is the production company that put on Tanacon, okay, that Tana hired, and this Michael Weiss, this 21-year-old kid that's behind the whole scenes. And the last couple days, I have received a lot of videos from people that he's out in clubs in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's just kind of like not really thinking about any of this. Okay, that may be true, I don't know. But what's interesting to me is that the focus has kind of shifted in parts 2 and 3 to being this person's responsibility, to being Michael's responsibility. And I'm not saying that he's without fault, because I definitely think that he is. But Tana ultimately is responsible because before Michael and Good Times Productions ever got involved in this, there was Tana Mojo and Tanacon. She was the one that made the 57-minute video about VidCon. She was the one that started teasing this out to the world. So before he ever got involved, no matter who she chose to use, Tana Mojo decided there would be a Tanacon. So ultimately, it's her responsibility. If tomorrow I make PeterCon, okay, and I hire all these people and they screw up their job, it's ultimately my responsibility. Because we all know this. Listen, when you watch Project Runway, okay, and there's a team challenge, who goes home? The team captain. We're not stupid, okay? We know this. You don't pass the buck. You don't pass the buck to the creative director. The CEO is responsible. And this was Tanacon. This was Tana hiring the production company. So ultimately, she is responsible because there was a Tanacon and a Tana Mojo long before Good Times Productions ever came into this. Number two, if people were telling her not to hire him, it was again her responsibility. Over and over in this video, she says, all these people that use him as a production company, who she says are constantly scammed by him, which makes me wonder, if you're scammed by somebody supposedly, allegedly, one time, okay, why are you continuing to use this person over and over and over again, right? But she says in there that so many people told her not to use him because they didn't think that he was legit and all these kinds of things. She even says that Bella Thorne's team was very sketched out by him and was like, I don't trust this and whatever. So the person that she has shown in a lot of her videos and the person that she claims to be best friends with and all this kind of stuff is telling her, I don't trust this guy, and yet she continues to choose to go with him. And part of the problem for me is that, Tana has always said, I'm going to do what I want to do. You can't tell me anything wrong. But now that it's gone wrong, she wants to pass the buck. Okay, no, ultimately your responsibility. This is a lesson that all people need to learn, all young people specifically. And Tana Mongeau being 20 years old, I mean, we have servicemen and women in our country that at 18 years old are, protecting our country in other parts of the world. And she wants to blow this off and say, oh, somebody told me I should have done this and I didn't listen. And it's not good enough for me, okay? It's just not. And she's one side of her mouth saying, I am ultimately responsible for this, but the second part of her mouth is literally throwing him under the bus, literally, okay, as the bus is coming at him, right? And you'll find that out at the end. So then the question is, why did Tana choose to go with this Michael Weiss from Good Times Productions? When she could have gone with anybody, why go with him? And I have something to say about that at the end of this video. So number three, my third point, in drama class, if she wanted it to be the very best, and this kind of follows up with that, to be better than VidCon, which Shane confronts her about in there and says that, your intentions were not pure, your motives were not pure because you wanted to take away whatever VidCon had done because you were angry, this was revenge, right? So if that were the case, Tana Mongeau didn't get where she got by chance. And he says in there that he has helped her a lot, right, with her career. So at any point, she could have called up Shane Dawson and said, what should I do? When the whole thing gets messed up, she goes to her network. She goes to her management company and says, what should I do? She knows how to go to people and ask for help, right? So you would think that if she wanted it to be better than VidCon, why wouldn't she choose to use the very best management company out there, or the production company out there, to throw the very best event? Why would she chance this? This doesn't have to do with 2 or 3 months, okay? Why would you chance putting this in the hands of somebody that doesn't know really what they're doing? Other people are telling you not to use him. You're having all this go in your head, but yet you choose to use him anyway, right? Because he is wearing Gucci and he looks like he has a lot of money. I ain't buying it, okay? There has to be a reason why you chose to use this person. Well, for me, if I was going to throw an event that I wanted to be able to say, this is the finest event out there, better than VidCon, you better bet your ass I would be using the best production company in the entire world. Unless I really didn't care about that. Unless my true motive wasn't really to throw the best event, a better event than VidCon. But then the question is, what was Tana's motive? And that's a good question, and this is where the conspiracy continues. Number 4, all she does throughout the entire video is pass the buck. She sits there and she's talking to him, and Shane even says, you said that Tana, didn't put any of her money into it, and then this guy's like, well, she didn't, and then they go into it, and Tana starts coming for him. The question is never answered. The question about did Tana put her actual money into this event is never answered. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I'm watching the video. I didn't watch it on 2 times speed or 1 time 0.25 speed. I didn't watch it on 3.4. I ain't got my glasses on. I can't do math, but I watched it exactly as it was said, and she never answered that question. She said I had nothing to gain from it because financially anything that was made was going to go back into Tanacon, but she never once mentioned putting any of her own money into this, which is interesting to me from an event point of view, that they were paying these vendors and the Marriott and things after they made the money from the ticket sales. That's interesting to me, that those things wouldn't have been paid for first. So my question is, who paid for that? Good Times? If that's the case, then okay, then he should be reimbursed for what he went and did, botched or not. Like, he should be reimbursed for that. Okay, number 5, she says in there, and this is where I do a little bit of research, so you guys, if you're in drama class, you might want to take some notes. She says in there, we're both young and dumb as fuck. Well, I have to tell you guys, okay, after countless Tana Mongeau videos that I have made, I am really tired of her saying, I'm young, I don't know better, I don't know this, I'm not, and everybody allowing her to get away with that, okay? To me, it is not good enough to sit there and say, I'm young, I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, 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 whatever. And Shane goes in there and says, you know, you have a lot of power out there, right? Well, I've made 22.56 Tana Mongeau videos. In every single video I have said, okay, Tana Mongeau has a lot of power. She could use it for good or she could use it for bad. But I'm tired of this excuse that Tana Mongeau is too young, okay? Then the lesson is, because Shane says there is a lesson of this, I believe that things happen for a reason. Well, I believe that too. The lesson is, grow the fuck up, okay? It's not that deep. You know, stop being irresponsible. You know, just some of these clips, I'm sitting there watching her and I'm thinking to myself, why anybody got behind her on this? She has no business. I don't care if you're standing there walking through a venue and you're like, oh, this room looks big. Get a measuring tape out, okay? This isn't brain science. This is called common sense. So I went in and I did a little research. Now, every year I go to Ultra Music Festival. This last year was the 20th anniversary, okay? We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people over a 3-day weekend. Very similar to Tanacon, but not the same amount of people. She had between 4,000 and 5,000. Ultra Music Festival has over 330,000, okay? I did my research. When it was originally designed in 1999 by Russell Fabish and Alex Ohms, Fabish was 22 years old. Alex Ohms was 28 years old. So these are relatively young people throwing a music festival of 10,000 people. It's going on 20 years later to the number of 330,000 people, okay? So I don't buy this young and dumb kind of act. Oh, but that's not good enough. Let's go into another one. I looked in to see the organization of Woodstock, which was one of the largest music festivals that has ever occurred in the entire world. And at the time that it occurred, they had no idea how many people would show up. And you see footage of people coming in. So you want to talk about a parking lot filled with people being sunburnt? Let's talk about Woodstock, okay? People that can't even get into the music festival. And it is, to this day, one of the, I don't know, most enamored music festivals that we have ever seen, that still to this day people play music from. They sit there and they get behind all this stuff. They watch the documentary and all of that stuff. Well, let's talk about the people that organized it. Michael Lang was 25 at the time that it was organized. Artie Cornfield was 27. And Joel Rosenman, who financed the entire website, or the entire music festival, was 27. So you're talking about people 5 to 7 years older than Tana, okay? That when the thing was organized, were probably 22 to 25. So I'm not buying this young and dumb kind of act. When do we stop allowing her to get away with that? At 22, at 24, at 26? I'm just not buying it, you know? There are people that have organized major events at 18 years old that have done a finer job than Tana Mongeau, and she has exposure to this world. Let's not forget, this is not her first time going to an event like this. She even says it in the video. Okay, number 7, the event was not sold out. In the video that I did, like the day before Tanacon and VidCon were showing, I went in to see if I could buy a VIP ticket, and you could buy a VIP ticket, because I talked in there about how my friend was going to VidCon, and I wanted to see if he could get a ticket to go to Tanacon. So what that says is that they didn't care if they were to capacity or not. She co-signed it knowing that it could be that way. They showed footage in the video of her saying, I like the idea of people waiting in the rain because then they can say, oh, I couldn't get into the event, right? So if that's the case, she didn't care if people waited. And that's how she treats her fans. She doesn't care. She knew people were going to be waiting to get into the event, and she didn't care. She was up in a hotel room with Bella Thorne or marrying people on a stage when her ass should have been out in the parking lot making sure that those people that couldn't get in could get in. Or saying to those people, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to let you know. Or going to security and saying, we need to get people here immediately. Wow, it only looks like there's 20 of you. Why aren't there 91 like we agreed to? She should have had her finger on the pulse of all of that, being that it was Tanacon. To say that the production company was fully responsible for that, I can't get behind that. She ultimately hired them. And the moment that she saw it going wrong was when she should have stepped in and done something about it. Number 8, they haven't talked since, okay, so this really killed me. I put on here, they haven't talked once since her birthday. They care so much about fixing things that they didn't say, let's put our differences aside and fix this. No, they said, let's wait for Shane Dawson to fix this. So it's been like a week and a half or a week, right? And Tana and Michael haven't talked once, not once, to say, hey, let's put aside our differences. We've got to fix this shit show that occurred. We've got to reach out to the creators. We've got to reach out to the people that bought tickets that were staying in the parking lot that were burned. We've got to figure out what we're going to do. She didn't reach out to him and he didn't reach out to her. Not once. They didn't have any kind of conversation. Now, y'all don't think that's weird, okay? That this is all going on and Tana's celebrating her birthday and Michael's in Nashville out at a club, and nobody cares that this has happened, but yet they want to get on video and cry, oh, we're so sad, we're so upset, I can't believe. No, you don't. Like, you didn't try to fix it. That's what you just showed, was that not once did you try to fix this together. And I just really don't understand that, you know? Number 9, why weren't you down there? Okay, this is one of my big issues is that I said, why weren't you down there? Why weren't you outside talking to people? She does what she wants, but now takes no responsibility and claims people told her what to do. You know, and she goes in there and she says, like, I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, but people were telling me no. Well, Tana, when you want to do what you want to do, nobody can tell you anything, right? But then when you're trying to fix it, people are telling you what to do and you don't go against them. So what is it? You either do what you want to do. I mean, it can't work both ways. You got to take ultimately some responsibility for who you are and the shit show that you organized. You know, it's not that people tell me what to do and I say screw you, or like with hiring this guy, but then when people are telling you don't go outside and say anything, you choose to follow them then? Like, I'm very confused, all right? And there's no consistency there, which to me equals, I don't know, somebody that's maybe not telling the whole truth. For the security, did you meet with them? Did you ever look at them and say, I'd like to see all 91 people, I'd like to meet them, I want to see who they are? With the gift bags, did you ever look inside? Did you ever think, hey, maybe I should run to the bank and get $50 bills and put a $50 bill in each gift bag to make sure that it equaled 4 times the price of whatever it wouldn't even been? I mean, I don't understand that. Like, you can blame somebody all you want for a gift bag, but did you ever pick up the gift bag and look inside and then say, this is embarrassing, and then address it on a stage anywhere and say, I'm really sorry that people aren't getting the gift bags that I promised them? When the gift bags came, because they, I'm sure, came in boxes and had to be put out somewhere so people got them, did you ever pick up a bag and look through it? Where's that footage? Or will we see that in this supposed documentary that's coming out? The one thing about Shane that surprised me was that Shane said that he had no idea that this was in retaliation against VidCon. No way did he say he knew that. He said, but here's the thing. I watched it all go down. I'm not close to Tana. I'm not close to Shane. I don't know VidCon. I've never been there. I've never been to any of this kind of stuff. Listen, it wasn't brain science to sit there and watch this and be like, oh, this is Tana's way to retaliate against VidCon. I mean, I think any of us that watched it knew that. I'm very surprised that he sat there and said that he had no clue that that's what it was about. That was the only issue that I had. I mean, I thought Shane did a fantastic job on this series, but that was like the one thing. I was kind of like, really, Shane? Like, if you could have like said, like, I totally knew what you were doing, and like to some degree, I could kind of get behind that. But like, she's put out multiple videos talking about it. She's tweeted out a lot about it. I mean, I don't know, like, I was like, oh, this is where the bias comes in just a little bit. Because I think all of us out there, Tana's fans, Tana's not fans, Shane's fans, whoever, knew that this was in retaliation against VidCon. How could you not? Like, you know what I mean? I was very surprised when he said something about that. But maybe he didn't, you know? I mean, I always believe, Shane, that he's being very, very honest. And I think he was trying to do his best to teach Tana some lessons. At the end of the day, I don't believe she really learned a whole lot from this. I believe that she kind of feels bad about it. I mean, she seemed to cry a lot on video. I didn't see a whole lot of tears, but I don't know. I mean, that's not always a gauge for if somebody's being honest or real or not. I don't know. It just seems to me, it feels to me, from her point of view, not from Shane's, too little too late. There's so many things that could have been done to fix this. You know, he says at the beginning of this that he believes that everything happens for a reason and there's a lesson. To me, the lesson is to grow up. It's time, okay? It is time to start taking these experiences and saying, I want to be a better person. I want to remain teachable. I want to treat people better in my life. I want to be taken seriously and professionally so that these things don't happen again in my life. I don't want to just seem like a wild child that has no idea what I'm doing. And if we look back on the history of, you know, female rock stars who engaged in drugs and alcohol, like my lover, Stevie Nicks, you know, these people showed up to concerts. These people knew how to do their business. That's why they were successful. So even her being a wild child is really no, you know, excuse. She has a management team around her. She has people around her. So unless she's telling all of them, screw off, I'm not going to listen to anything that you say, then it's somewhat their responsibility too. This whole thing is like a total clusterfuck to me, right? Of which she passed the buck to this Michael of Good Times the whole time. And ultimately to me, and even though she says, it's ultimately my responsibility, in my heart of hearts, I do not believe that she feels that. I just really don't. Especially at the footage at the end when they're showing all the things and she's going around with Michael and she says, see, she doesn't believe she's responsible for it. She believes that Michael's responsible for it. So let's get to the point 13, which is appropriately my conspiracy point. What about the conspiracy? I'm just going to read this to you, what I wrote, okay? Because we're in drama class. In the end, Shane found out that the total revenue from the VIP ticket sales was $325,000. Woo! That is some Gucci bags, baby. You know, and that's interesting to me that she never once knew how many VIP tickets were sold versus how many free tickets, when that was really her idea from the very beginning, that everybody was going to be able to come to VidCon for free, or to Tanacon for free. And what was interesting to me about this long ago when she first started talking about it was that when you went to the website, she had free tickets, but then she had VIP tickets, and I thought, whoa, wait a second. I thought this was a free event. So at what point did Tana ever say, no, I said free and I meant free, right? It should have been free across the board. She said it wasn't. So these VIP tickets, she had to have known at some point that this is where it was going. If she didn't, that's her negligence of not looking into that when this idea of a free convention was hers to begin with. Shane also found out that Michael, being the CEO of Good Times and sole proprietor of it, is responsible for all financial reimbursement. He signed off on these contracts between all of these different places, saying with the ticket sales, with his VIP ticket sales, that he is ultimately responsible, right? It's his name, CEO of Good Times Productions, that signed off on this kind of stuff. Are you ready for what that means? Which means that Tana Mongeau is not legally responsible for any of it. Then why did she choose to use someone everyone told her was not reliable? If looking at this thing overall, and you want to look at it from a conspiracy point of view, and the questions would be, if everybody in the world is telling Tana not to use this person, and they're all telling her that he isn't, you know, legit and all this kind of stuff, and yet even her closest friend Bella Thorne's team tells her that, she chooses to go with him anyway. She acts like she has no idea that all this stuff is going on, right? When before Michael, there was Tanacon, and then she hired Michael. See, it goes like this. It's a pyramid, upside down. So she hired Michael, ultimately. Well, why would she do that? And did she know that her name was not on any of these contracts? Did she know that she wasn't ultimately responsible for anything financial that happened at Tanacon? Because she would have to have known that by not signing any of these contracts. Why did she choose to use someone that no one thought was reliable? She's gaining the same amount of subs on a daily basis, because I just looked, and the video shows she's not responsible. If you sit back and you really look at it, the feeling that you get from watching this video is that Michael really had no clue what he was doing throwing an event. And it's very problematic, and she's very problematic as well, when you watch this and they say, we're just young, I said it again, young and dumb, and we don't know what we're doing. But that couldn't have been the only time she's ever thought that, when she's going through all this kind of stuff, and she's like, yes, let's make people wait because they like that and all this kind of stuff. Which Shane never asked her one question about those pieces of footage, but yet they all respond to the footage of Michael not doing his job. Well, what about Tana sitting there and co-signing the fact that she was okay with people having to wait to get in? You know, and all of those pieces that we saw at the beginning that made Tana not look okay. What about her own money going into this? So you have to ask yourself, why did she choose to use somebody like this? And she is gaining. She's not losing anything off of this. No subs, none of that, right? She knew she never signed a contract, which means she will throw another Tanacon. And the next time, here's my psychic prediction. The next Tanacon, which will have a year of planning, because I can tell you it will be next year, and it will be a year planning, will be bigger and better than what she threw this time. She'll promise it, and she'll promise it, and people will come. So the conspiracy, I don't know. Is this a conspiracy? My guess is that she will throw an apology video up, which will, on her channel, and she will continue to grow, and this will have no impact on her whatsoever. I think she will throw another convention, and I think she's already fed it out. It'll be the sister convention, and I think it will have people like her and Shane and, you know, other people that she had as co-creators organize the event together, and it'll ultimately be, she was the one that came up with this idea to begin with. She hasn't lost anything off of this. This Michael kid is financially responsible for all of it, and she knew it. So then you have to ask yourself, why did she choose to use him? She's not that dumb. This is a girl that started from really nothing and has blown up on YouTube. To some degree, she knows what she's doing. So then you have to ask yourself, why did she choose to use this person? And all of it comes out, and really, Tana has no responsibility. She says, I'm responsible for this, and when she puts out an apology video, she will say, ultimately, I am responsible for this. But where's your action to that apology? You know, I say this in a lot of my videos. In taking ownership for something, you have to apologize, you have to explain your actions, you have to take ownership, and you have to make it right and promise that it will never happen again. I would like to see the action behind what she's going to do about this, you know? Ultimately, she's the person that hired him. And even if legally she's not financially responsible for this, I'd like to see some action to this. That would show me that she is growing up as a person. That would show me if she continues to change and do things differently and not just put out all of these careless, irresponsible messages to the world, that she has actually learned from this experience. But do we believe that will happen? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.